Well, all morning. What we've got to do today is we've got to start moving forward with getting our garden plots back reclaimed from Mother Nature, where they got so overgrown over the last 8, 10, 12 years with a lot of invasive species. One of which is the Chinese tallow tree, which is extremely invasive here in the South. Now, it was first brought over, according to the USDA, in about 1776 as an ornamental. But now in China, Japan, and Taiwan, where it's primarily grown, it's used for making vegetable tallow for candle and soap making from the waxy coating of the seeds. Another use for it is the oil that are in the seeds. Now, it's toxic to humans and mammals, but it's also used to make biodiesel and machine lubricants. Now, here in the South, it spreads like a plague. It spreads by its seeds and by its roots. And pretty much, even the USDA has been unsuccessful in controlling it and eradicating it. And it's taken over large swaths of land in a lot of the southeastern states, some of the southwestern states, Oklahoma and Texas. Because it can propagate by seed, a mature tree can produce 100,000 seeds per tree. Now, you may say, well, you cut it down. Let me show you what happens, because we cut some down here in this old garden plot. Let's take a look at just what happens when you cut one down. Okay, here's one of them right here that we cut down here in the old garden plot. You can see down in there is a small stump, and you can see all around that stump this Chinese tallow tree, or what we fondly call it, popcorn tree, has re-sprouted probably another 50 sprouts. You go over to this much larger one. Now, I had this covered up with a tarp thinking it might kill it, but as you can see, it didn't. And this is a fairly large one, and it must have a couple of hundred sprouts coming up. Here's another one. And we have another one here. As well as here. Now, you might say, why not just go ahead and dig the stumps up, pull them up? And I could rent an excavator, bring it on in here, pull them on up. Now, I could go ahead and dig out the roots. But unless I kill this stump and kill the root system, any little piece of that root system left behind will re-sprout. The USDA has tried to use controlled fire. They can burn them down to the ground, but what the USDA has found, within a few months, they sprout back up through the roots. Where one was, now hundreds are. It's extremely prolific. It has no known pests. Nothing's going to eat it. Why? Well, the leaves are toxic. The fruit is toxic to mammals. Now, birds can eat it, and that's another way it's propagated. Birds eat the ripening fruit that will become the seed pods. Then they go poop it somewhere else. That's how I come to get them. So, the recommended way to control these is to use up to a 50% glyphosate or Roundup, same thing, solution applied directly to the stump, or if the tree's alive, to girdle the tree trunk 24 inches up the tree for about 12 to 24 inches and paint glyphosate or Roundup on it, and do that repeatedly until the tree dies. So far, that's been the only control. Now, I don't want to use Roundup. This is going to be a garden plot, and it was a garden plot for years and years, and I want to reclaim it and get it back being the garden plot it once was. So I'm going to show you a method that I've used. It takes a little while, but I should be able to kill these over the next month or two, and then come winter I can go ahead and see about pulling the stumps up and getting as much of the roots out as I can before I prep the ground for planting next spring. So let me show you what we got going on. Okay, you're going to need a couple of things. First thing you're going to need is a drill. Don't have to be cordless, I just happen to have one. You're going to need a drill bit, preferably the largest size your drill will chuck up. The other thing you're going to need is distilled white vinegar. Cheapest you can get, totally fine, 5%. And what we're going to do is we're going to take that drill and we're going to come over here to this stump. And we're going to drill just as many holes as we can, just as deep as we can. Once we have those holes drilled, we're going to fill them on up with this distilled white vinegar. I mean, you can use apple cider vinegar if you want, but distilled white vinegar is pretty cheap. This is like $1.09 a gallon. No sense wasting good apple cider vinegar on a tree stump. So we're going to get started. Let you see what we got going on. Okay, y'all, we're going to take the drill. We're going to start drilling some holes in this stump. It's just that easy. And what you want to do is drill them down as far as you can get them. And this is tough wood. Okay, y'all, the battery died on the chargeless drill. We're going to have to charge it back up. So we had to switch out to our Black & Decker 3/8 inch corded drill. And to be honest, it's a lot stronger drill and makes a little bit faster work out of it. And like I said, drill your holes as far as they'll go. That's real important. We want that vinegar to get down as deep as it can. Well, we're going to continue drilling holes in the stump. I think you get the idea now. And we'll return, show you what we got when we get ready to start soaking it up with the vinegar. Well, there you have it. We finished drilling the holes in the stump. Try to put them in about every 1/2 inch, 3/4. And make sure you drill them the full length of that drill bit. That's important. How many you put into it? I mean, you can sit here all day drilling holes in if that's what you want to do. But this should be adequate. Now all we're going to do is we're going to take the vinegar, 5%, and we're going to fill these holes up. And we're going to continue this process on all these stumps in this garden plot. Then we're going to go up to the garden plot behind the house and we'll do the same thing. Now up there we've got two other different invasive species to deal with. One's a Chinese privet. It's just as invasive as the Chinese tallow trees. It too will resprout from the stump and roots, and it also produces seeds by tens of thousands. So it's extremely invasive as well. And here again, as the name infers, Chinese privet came from Asia. And you've probably seen it all over the country, making some real fine ornamental hedges. But in the South, the birds eat the berries when they get ripe. They poop them all over the place, and it's not long before you got these by the hundreds. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this up with the vinegar now. So like I said, we're just going to fill these holes up. You don't got to be real careful. It is vinegar. Yep, it is acidic, but it's also natural. Now if I use enough of it, it could change the localized soil area to the more acid side. But I'd rather do that than use Roundup or glyphosate. I can always add lime, readjust my soil. Right over there is a nice worm. So I'm going to keep filling up these holes. And we got them full now. We're going to let that soak in, and we'll come back and refill them again. And over the course of the next week or two, we'll refill them again, probably every other day. And I'll come back to this particular stump because it does have all this growth on it that I have left. Normally I don't. I cut all that back and dispose of it. Now, that being said, another thing, these leaves, when they decay, they have chemical compounds in them that are toxic to other plants. Whatever you do, do not use these in your compost. Do not use them as a mulch. When you cut the trees down, do not use the branches and limbs for wood chips to put around in your garden and ornamentals. Don't do it, or you will kill your plants. At the very least, you'll retard the growth and you won't have any idea what's going on. Before I knew better, I've done it, I've lived it. Now I can tell you, it will definitely retard the growth. A lot of plants, it'll just straight out kill them. So just dispose of it. Hopefully off site of your property. That's what we'll be doing. We'll be actually burning it in the burn piles. So there we have it. They're all full. We'll let it soak in for about an hour or so, and then we'll top them all off. And we've got about another 20 of these to go. We got to get them all done. Like I said, we'll revisit this every week or two, and we'll let you see if indeed it kills it. The only other alternative we would have is the Roundup, and to me that's just not a good alternative. I know some people say use salt. I don't like putting salt into my ground. The vinegar will dissipate over time, and yes, it may change the soil pH, but salt, it can build up quickly and become a severe problem that doesn't dissipate quickly. So we're going to go with this method, see how it works for us. Well, we finished up here, at least in this garden plot beside the shop. We got all 5 stumps drilled, went ahead and cleaned the holes out, and we've been filling them up with the vinegar and topping them off. So this is what we got. We got this one here, it's all drilled up. The holes are all full of vinegar. Same with this one here. And the other three. We got another small one right here. The larger one that you saw me drill and fill with vinegar at the beginning of the video. And a very small one right here, we just drilled a hole down through the center of it. So over the course of drilling the rest of them, I came back and continued to fill up the holes with the vinegar. Now, over the course of the next week or two, I'll come back out. Every day or two I'll check, and when I can't see the vinegar anymore, I'll fill them holes back up. Eventually, it'll kill the tree and kill the roots. I'll go ahead and update this as we progress along. But I can't emphasize enough, don't just pull them out. Try to remove all the roots. I've done it, and I've lived to regret it. Because like I say, where I had one, I had dozens come up from the root remnants I'd left behind. I've tried everything. I've tried to cover these with tarps where they absolutely got no sunshine. They just continue to grow. They don't look like much, but they're still growing. Well, I hope you learned something today on how to kill a tree stump. And you'll definitely want to do this. You'll want to make sure you do this on any invasive tree species or shrub species. Because if you don't, you go ahead, pull the stumps, pull as many of the roots as you can. All you got to do is leave some of those roots behind, and instead of having one tree, you'll have dozens or hundreds. Make sure, kill the tree first and the root system. And that's what we're setting out to do today. Y'all take care, stay safe out there, and God bless you all. Bye for now. Well, Tricks, you ready to take her on in the house, call it a day? Well, come on. Ready to go in? Okay, come on. Come on, Tricks. Well, Tricks says it's time to come in the house. We're on our way. Till next time, folks, we'll be seeing you on the next video. Hope this helps some of you out. Got bees everywhere.